Alrighty, yo, what is going on, everybody? It's your boy, Mr. DDG94 here, back with another reaction video. Today, we finna react to a video I've been holding off for too long. Like I said, I'm trying to get as much shit out my watch later list as possible, bro. This is The Crazy Life of Martin Lawrence, man. I ain't done a Martin Lawrence video in a long time, bro. So this should be a good one right here, man. The Crazy Life of Martin Lawrence. I've been holding off on this for a hot minute, bro. But we here now. We here now. We here now. So yeah, we're gonna do this one right here. And yeah, without further ado, let's get right into it.
That fame and money and success and celebrity have nothing to do with the kind of demons that can take over anybody's life.
Like me or love me, everything is good though, dog. Martin Lawrence, what's up, man?
This is a very funny comedian who's kind of hit the jackpot.
He's had some ups and downs in his personal life.
Are you all right?
Los Angeles, 1996, the city of dreams, but also a city still licking its wounds from the riots years prior. The air thick with unresolved tension. And in the relatively quiet suburb of Sherman Oaks, Martin Lawrence was reportedly frantic, yelling at oncoming cars. Onlookers watched as he ran into traffic, reportedly screaming, "They're trying to kill me." The police would arrive soon, and when they did, the story would explode. This is the kind of moment that people remember. The kind of moment where everything changes. This would be great material.
You so crazy.
Let's bring on Martin Lawrence.
This was his moment. He'd earned it. He had performed in Washington Square Park, sharing the spotlight with street dancers and jugglers. He'd played in small clubs in D.C. He had survived the unimpressed gazes, the murmured conversations over his jokes, and the pressure to prove he was worth listening to. All of that led to this, and he was ready.
There's not nothing in the world she wouldn't do for me. So I guess we go through life not doing a thing for each other.
The crowd likes it. Good. Hollywood never has to look too hard for its next star. They tend to crop up, whether through proximity to the city, nepotism, or just sheer luck. But Martin wasn't necessarily a lucky guy. Born in Frankfurt, West Germany, to a military family, he was named Martin Fitzgerald Lawrence after two giants, Martin Luther King and John F. Kennedy. His father was an airman, in which the core value was integrity first. By the time he was 7, the family would relocate back to the States, making a brief stop in Queens, and then eventually settling in Landover, Maryland. But within a year, his father would leave the family, his mother moving herself and 6 kids into the King Square housing projects. Martin, the fourth of 6 children, learned early on the importance of standing out while also holding his own. Integrity first. But Landover wasn't quite like Germany. It was a place where he had to fight. He was a small kid, scrawny, a bit short, but he had hands. By the time he was 15, he weighed just 90 pounds. But that didn't stop him from making waves in the boxing circuit. That year, he became the Golden Gloves runner-up. He was into the arts as well, taking drama classes in high school. His teachers would try to cultivate his energy, giving him the last few minutes of every class to entertain his classmates, to make them laugh. After graduating, he wanted to see if he could make more than his classmates laugh. He wanted to do stand-up. He grew up with Richard Pryor, staying up late looking at his sets. He wanted to be just like that. He joined a theater troupe after high school, 10-point musical group, and he did a few plays, but he wasn't with all the theatrics and wanted to focus on comedy. This was his big break.
Right. The judges give Jason Stewart 3 stars. The challenger, Martin Lawrence, receives 3 3/4 stars. The new champion, Martin Lawrence.
He ended up winning that night but lost the next round, and Hollywood wasn't calling. He returned home to Landover, working maintenance, depressed. Then the phone rang.
Ah, yes, this is so-and-so from Columbia Pictures. Is Martin Lawrence there?
Oh, they invited him to audition for the show What's Happening Now, a revamp of the classic What's Happening. Of course, he would nail the audition. He starred in the 3rd season as Maurice Warfield. He spent a year on the show, and then, just like that, it was canceled. So, he went back home again, licking his wounds. He didn't expect the show to end, especially so soon. Shirley Hemphill, one of the stars of the show, would call a few months later to ask how he was doing. The truth is, not well. He was broke. She would send him $500 through the mail to hold him over. He asked how he could repay her. She said, "Don't worry about it. Richard Pryor helped her out years ago." She was paying it forward. The last episode of the show aired in March 1988, and 4 months later, he would get another opportunity to be in front of the camera.
We fight out. Hi, I'm Spike Lee. I'm not directing. I do this.
Spike Lee was on the rise. After receiving critical and commercial success with his debut feature, She's Gotta Have It, he was inspired to do a film set in Brooklyn with the underlying thesis on how the weather can impact violence, especially between the races. Martin was tapped as the thick-tongued neighborhood kid C. Topper Carew, a director and producer who worked on the Jimmy Walker series Bustin' Loose, helped Martin get the role. He was Robin Harris's manager, and Robin introduced the two when Martin was dropped from his agent.
Martin had tears in his eyes, and that was pretty much the day I decided to dig in for him.
And Martin's face was now projecting on big screens across the country, and that got the ball rolling.
I'm Martin Lawrence. How y'all doing?
He was tapped to do House Party, which became a sleeper hit directed by Reginald Hudlin. Topper nabbed him to play the lead in his comedy Talkin' Dirty After Dark. The movie was ultimately panned by critics. But Martin was the bright spot, proving that with the right vehicle, he had the potential to be something special. He had officially become a leading man.
Please welcome Eddie Murphy.
Eddie Murphy!
Eddie Murphy.
Eddie Murphy.
After earning national attention as a cast member on Saturday Night Live, Eddie Murphy hit superstar status in the early 80s. His stand-up special Delirious catapulted him into comedy royalty, and the follow-up Raw grossed over $50 million in theaters. By the late 80s, Eddie wasn't just in Hollywood, he was Hollywood.
Dang.
By 1992, he had starred in 10 feature films, all of which were successful. Martin wanted a career just like his. Eddie had been working on a concept with some buddies from his Saturday Night Live days. The story was about a successful male chauvinist who falls for the female version of himself, but every womanizer needs a posse, right? Martin was cast along with David Alan Grier in the movie as Murphy's best friends. Reginald Hudlin was tapped to direct the film and knew Martin would bring his A-game. Tisha Campbell, another standout from House Party, was also cast as Murphy's nosy neighbor. Even though they didn't have any scenes in Boomerang together, Tisha and Martin had a rapport. They had become acquainted while Martin was doing shows in the comedy circuit in LA. Tisha would come and watch him along with Tommy Davidson. While on set, Hudlin saw the potential in these two newcomers and would go on and on to Eddie about them. Eddie suggested Hudlin do a movie starring the two of them. Martin overheard that and took notes. You see, he had been busy. He was in talks with Russell Simmons to host the new stand-up show Def Comedy Jam, which would premiere a few months before Boomerang. Directed by Stan Lathan, the 30-minute showcase would highlight a bevy of black comedians, such as Bernie Mac, Chris Tucker, and Cat Williams. Martin would serve as the first host, as the show premiered in March 1992.
Oh, wow. So glad you can make it. That's my girl. You seen her at House Party 1? When she took off when she was running, body was like, pow!
1992 was a defining year as hip-hop surged into the mainstream. By partnering with Def Jam, Martin positioned himself at the forefront of this cultural moment, seamlessly blending comedy and hip-hop in a way that resonated with audiences. Martin and Topper were also developing a new sitcom. Martin knew that the best way to get eyes on him was through being in people's living rooms every week. He already had the mature hip-hop crowd. Now he wanted to step into the mainstream. Hell, Cosby did it, and Eddie was live every Saturday. Now it was Martin's turn. But there was one thing missing: the girl. Martin was sitting next to Diana Ross at the Boomerang premiere. The Diana Ross. And when he saw Tisha, he told her that he wanted her to play his love interest in his next project. She brushed it off as industry talk, but he kept his word. And once he sold his show, he gave her a call. But the problem was, Tisha had already booked another gig and had to decline. Martin wasn't going to take no for an answer, and showed up to her home to pitch her the possibilities of the show, only to find Tashina Arnold, Tisha's roommate and best friend, in the apartment. They had known each other since they were child actors, and were both hustling to get their big breaks in the industry. Tashina had auditioned for his show previously, but hadn't heard anything back yet. She wanted to earn it on her own merit, and made Tisha promise her not to tell Martin they were friends, until Martin showed up in their living room. She received a call offering the part of Pam soon after he left.
What's up? What's up?
Pam James was his girlfriend, Gina's best friend, and Martin's constant sparring partner, known for her quick wit and insults. Carl Payne and Tommy Ford would come along and be cast as Cole and Tommy, respectively, Martin's best friends. Cole was a goofy, awkward guy, and Tommy a smooth talker who ain't have no job. The show became a playground for Martin.
You ain't got no
allowing him to
job,
showcase his
man.
comedic genius by portraying a variety of unforgettable characters, like Shanae Jenkins, the loud and flamboyant neighbor, Jerome, the gold-toothed hustler, and Mama Payne, Martin's overbearing mother. Each added their own chaos to the mix. The show was an instant hit. The first season, Fox made the sitcom the highlight of their Thursday night lineup, which drew away from NBC's A Different World, which showed at the same time, causing them to drop from number 17 the previous season to number 71.
Damn.
Martin was number 41. But not everyone liked the content. Bill Cosby took aim at Martin and other sitcoms of the day, saying the new black...
This nigga was the biggest hypocrite, bro. Hey, you know what was crazy? Eddie Murphy still got smoke with this nigga to this day about that shit. Ever since he made that, I thought he was joking when he said Eddie Murphy called him. Apparently that was true, because he got smoke for Bill Cosby to this day. Damn. Eddie Murphy do not play around. That nigga still got smoke for Bill Cosby to this very day, bro. Be like, I would like to talk to you about some of the things that you say at the show. Can't say filth, floor, filth. I ain't say no filth, floor, filth. You know what I'm trying to say. You can't say the word fuck. Bruh, the fact that he still got smoke for this nigga today is crazy.
Black sitcoms and the comedians that led them promoted vulgarity in a Newsweek article. But Bill was the master of morality, and we gotta listen to him, right?
No.
Martin wasn't trying to be anyone else's idea of success or morality. The show was loud, unapologetic, and full of personality.
And that's what
just
made
like
it the
himself.
GOAT.
This wasn't the Cosby Show or anything like it, and that was the point. Martin aimed to highlight a young black couple navigating life in the 90s with all the ups, downs, and hilarious in-betweens. And it wasn't entirely due to the writing. The scripts would be great, with the basic premise loud and clear for the audience. But it was the improv that kept people coming back, and the cast continuously trying not to break on camera.
One of Hollywood's select few who's known by just one name. What's his name? Martin. Yes, indeed. Of course, he's in that group with people like Madonna and who else? Cher, Regis, of course, Regis. Martin!
Martin was a star, and he attracted other stars, soon rubbing elbows with the likes of Chris Rock and Will Smith. Saved by the Bell actor Lark Voorhees appeared on season 1 of Martin. The two started dating and were engaged shortly after. It's alleged that Lark found out the two broke up when he revealed on the Arsenio Hall show to be engaged to someone else. But I couldn't find that footage anywhere, so who knows? According to Dustin Diamond's memoir, Lark was never the same after the relationship with Martin.
At this point in his monologue, Martin begins a commentary on what he considers the decline in standards of feminine hygiene in this country.
In 1994, he was given the opportunity to host Saturday Night Live.
Well, look here, y'all. We got a great show for you tonight, because I'm here.
And while the Martin Show's secret weapon was improv, the creator and showrunner for the program, Lorne Michaels, hated it. But Martin being Martin, he did what he knew best. He launched into an array of topics off the dome. Michaels didn't appreciate it, and allegedly banned Martin from not only the show, but NBC as a whole. But that didn't change a damn thing.
They don't want my concert movie to come out. They don't want this brother to say what he got to say. Hey, the concert movie. They don't want the people they edit to. The concert movie coming to a theater near you real soon. I may not be there, but the movie will. Mama!
In '94, he released his first stand-up special, You So Crazy, filmed at New York's Majestic Theater to a sold-out crowd. The film made $10 million at the box office.
Yeah, I interviewed with my partner, Will Smith. Now, for those who don't know us, look how tall Will is. Now you put up two different people from different networks, and look how tall he is. He's tall. I'm short.
No, you're not short.
Oh, Will.
No, Martin, no. No,
Will.
Martin, you're not short.
What
man.
am I then?
You're pleasantly petite.
Thank you, man.
I'll see you on set in a minute, all right? Okay.
Love you, man.
He was also tapped to film the buddy cop.
That's Black
action comedy
Excellence
Bad Boys
right there,
starring
bruh.
Star Will Smith. Martin got top billing. He was the bigger star at the time. Arsenio Hall was initially offered the role of Mike Lowry, Will's character, and called it one of the biggest regrets of his career. The film opened at #1 at the box office and generated 50.
That wasn't a regret. They didn't want Martin didn't want him. Martin didn't want him. You was a second. I thought that's how it went. I thought Martin didn't want him. He wanted Will. Because at first he wanted Eddie, but Eddie was like, nah, I'm busy right now. I got too much on my plate right now. So he was like, fuck it, give me Will then. He was like, we got Arsenio. It's like, Arsenio could be a backup, but let's get Will. But I mean, Arsenio, he's kind of bigger, you know. We don't know about this Will Smith guy. I mean, he's good on television, but movies, come on, man. And little did they know, they created, wasn't for this, a star. Hey, they gave Will a shot, and a star was born from here.
$15.5 million during its opening weekend. And plus, the show was still a smash.
Mr. Martin Lawrence, we're trying to get to the bottom about the relationship between the two of you. You two get along all right?
Oh, she's talking about Dwayne. Did she tell the people about Dwayne? Well, but she brings it to work, you know. But she living two lives. She got the best of both worlds.
A great boyfriend on screen, great boyfriend off screen, you know.
I'm your husband. I'm your fiance.
Fiance?
Yeah,
We're engaged now.
we're engaged now on TV.
In 1995, at 29 years old, Martin married Miss Virginia Pat Southall in a ceremony with about 600 guests, and they had a daughter shortly after. Martin was seemingly at the top of the world.
I talked to God. I said, you know, this past year, 93, 94, there's been a lot of flag, you know, people saying, what is an image, what is a bad image in comedy? And I said, God, give me the strength, if I do win, to have the guts to come up here and say who I am and just to tell you. When you want to hear young people in America, you got to listen to them. You can't always point the finger and say, you're this and you're that, because when you constantly tell somebody you're bad, they don't feel like there's nowhere else to go.
Exactly.
He was a hot commodity.
Speak the truth, my
He
brother.
co-wrote a comedy thriller about a ladies' man who finds himself being stalked by one of his lovers. The film would eventually be titled A Thin Line Between Love and Hate. And while directing the film, Martin was under pressure. He executive produced his sitcom, but directing was a whole different beast. He reportedly flew into a violent rage on set and was hospitalized briefly at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center.
This world ain't supposed to be like this. This is all wrong. We fight, and we're fighting for the wrong things. Everybody measures success in having a car, having a big house,
But success is measured in your happiness. Because if you ain't happy, it don't mean a damn.
The pressure was getting to him. Fame wasn't just fun anymore. He had responsibilities. He started hiring his family and friends to be in his crew, buying them cars and property. He needed to work to keep everyone else going. By the time A Thin Line Between Love and Hate came out, Martin was on the brink. And this was just the tip of the iceberg.
So let me ask you this. What is happening in Hollywood? That guy that tough will be on the street waving a gun, screaming, "They are trying to kill me." Yeah. What's going on? Why is Dave Chappelle going to Africa? Why does Mariah Carey make a $100 million deal and take clothes off on TRL? A weak person cannot get to sit here and talk to you. Ain't no weak people talking to you. So what is happening in Hollywood? Nobody knows. The worst thing to call somebody is crazy, is dismissive. I don't understand this person, so they're crazy. That's bullshit. These people are not crazy. They're strong people. Maybe the environment is a little sick.
On the afternoon of May 7, 1996, at around 12:30 p.m., Martin ran into Ventura Boulevard at Tyrone Avenue in Sherman Oaks, reportedly with a loaded firearm in his pocket. Witnesses said he was screaming phrases like, "Fight the power," and "They're trying to kill me," at passing cars, waving his hands and cursing. Once police arrived, he reportedly tried to fight them off, and was ultimately restrained and arrested for possession of a concealed firearm. After a toxicology report, no substances were found in his system, and his publicist would say this was all due to exhaustion and dehydration. But Hollywood never changes its stripes. We've seen these scenes before, from Brandy reportedly running away from the set of her hit television show, to Dave Chappelle walking away from it all for years. It breaks people, the pressure of it all. A couple months later, he had another brush with the law for carrying a loaded firearm at the Burbank airport. He was arrested and given 2 years probation. 1996 was a tough year for Martin. In September, he filed for divorce. In the Washington Post, his ex cited that the reason was because she feared for her and their child's safety. There were rumors that he reportedly forced his way into her hotel room and threatened her and her entire family's lives.
We're learning more about that sexual harassment suit that has been filed against Martin Lawrence by his former co-star and about his reaction to it.
In November 1996, his newly married co-star, Tisha Campbell Martin, left the show and filed a lawsuit that dropped in the press in January the following year. The lawsuit stated that she was subjected to repeated and escalating harassment by Martin. The suit claimed that Martin had become obsessed with her, in which he focused his lust, anger, and violent tendencies on her. She claimed that he had consistently asked her on dates, which she declined. It also alleged that she had been in talks with producers to install a panic button inside her dressing room. In response, his team denied her claim, stating, "Martin Lawrence regrets that he is being used as a pawn in a contract dispute between Tisha Campbell and HBO, which were the producers for the show." The lawsuit was settled in April, and she returned to the show for the last 2 episodes, with the conditions that she would not interact or share scenes with Martin. And with a thud, the phenomenon of Martin was over. Just like that.
Sucks that they had to end that way. I really felt like, man, that bullshit should have never happened in the first place. But clearly Martin was going through something around this time. We don't know what it is. We don't know what it is. We don't know how. We don't know what the cause of it is. There was no drugs in the system, so I don't think we can say it was drugs. I can think we just say it was just the lifestyle, man. It's that lifestyle, man. You up so high, you riding so fast, and the next thing you know, it can come all crashing down, bruh. It's demanding. You gotta keep up with a lot of shit. That's why I ain't trying to get famous. I'm just trying to be good enough. I'm just trying to be well known. I ain't trying to be famous, baby. I ain't trying to be on I ain't trying to be on the movies. I ain't trying to be on the movie posters, baby. I'm trying to just be good enough to be a director behind the scenes at the most. You feel me? Yeah.
There were talks of a spin-off with Tashina, but it never got off the ground. Martin's unusual behavior was ongoing, having been arrested for punching a man at a Hollywood nightclub. He was ordered to host a charity fundraiser and perform community service for the crime. The same day he was found wandering on Ventura Boulevard, he was shooting a film with Tim Robbins called Nothing to Lose. The film would eventually debut at number 4 at the box office and was met with mostly negative reviews. But while filming, an assistant called his then wife, claiming he was laughing hysterically over nothing and was unable to stop. But what was wrong?
It was blazing herb, and I'm in lunch and I'm in there smoking a joint. Hell, I didn't come back out as the director. I came back out. I don't know if I was the star, the producer, or the director.
Lori Altshuler stated in the Washington Post that although there were rumors that drugs may have played a part in his behavior, that couldn't have been solely the case. This was something mental. She stated that his behavior aligned with symptoms of bipolar disorder, stating, "People fluctuate in their mood from a high, where they feel tremendous energy, have little need for sleep, often have increased productivity, increased sexuality. It sometimes progresses to irritability, to grandiose delusions and paranoia. If left untreated, a person can become increasingly psychotic and lose touch with reality. According to his ex-wife's statements in divorce court, Martin had been seeking help and taking psychotropic medication since 1995. And he also had a full-time nurse on his staff. But really, that was none of our business.
Ain't nobody trying to hear that bullshit, man.
Of course, of development, there were different actors that were being considered for roles and stuff. And Martin, it always went back to Martin. Martin was the first choice. And then he went off and he was doing other films, and then other people got popular, and then it always came back to Martin.
Martin kept working. In 1999, he co-starred along with Eddie Murphy in the movie Life. And although it had meager success at the box office, it became a cult classic.
Most definitely.
Eat your cornbread.
He also was the lead in Blue Streak, which opened at #1 at the box office.
And I think God tells us, hey, my friend, I'm gonna make you lie down because you don't have sense enough to lie down for yourself.
2 weeks after Blue Streak premiered, while trying to lose weight for another film, Martin was jogging in 100-degree heat while wearing a plastic suit, wool cap, and heavy clothing, and subsequently slipped into a 3-day coma from heat exhaustion. The movie was Big Mama's House. Big Mama's House followed Martin, who played FBI Director Malcolm Turner, who goes undercover as the grandmother of his former girlfriend. The movie would make over $175 million worldwide, almost 7 times more than the original budget. But critics did not particularly like the film. Many media critics had a problem with Martin dressing in drag, thinking that wearing a dress, as many black and white male comedians had done in the past, was used as a trope to demasculate these men.
But they didn't have a problem with Shanae though. That's kind of hypocritical, bro. You didn't have a problem with Shanae, but you got a problem with him as Big Mama. I don't think the movie was good. I think it's just based off the fact that, my personal opinion, the movie just wasn't good. Okay. The movie just wasn't good. The character is trash. The plot really didn't make no sense. Like, come on, bro. Big Mama House, that didn't make no sense. That's why I didn't watch the sequel. I was forced to watch the third one against my will. I always say that. I was forced to watch the third one against my will. I was trying to get some cheeks. I was trying to get some cheeks. That's the only reason why I ended up watching the third one. I was not trying to watch that one, but BET always playing them whack ass movies, bro. So I was like, all right, cool. We sit here and watch this for a little bit. I had to handle my business. You feel?
You's a freaky ass nigga.
But nah, let's get back into this.
Putting them in a dress as a sort of dog whisper to the world that they're not real men. But hey, it was funny. Martin continued working throughout the early 2000s, starring in Bad Boys 2, What's the Worst That Could Happen, and the criminally underrated Black Knight.
Are you all right? Is everything all right now?
Yes, America, I'm all right, and I just want to thank y'all for supporting me.
But he had more to say. His second stand-up special, Run Tell That, addressed everything. From his divorce to his legal issues, audiences loved it, making the special a box office hit with nearly $20 million in earnings. He was consistently putting out work in the mid-2000s, after executive producing films like Rebound and Big Mama's House 2, as well as starring in Wild Hogs, College Road Trip with Raven-Symoné, and Welcome Home Roscoe Jenkins. In 2010, he married his second wife at their Beverly Hills home. The two had been dating for almost 10 years, having had 2 children at the time they were married. But less than 2 years later, Martin would file for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences. Martin retreated from the spotlight around this period, letting other comedians take control of the game. He did Big Mama's House 3, which, while making over $86 million worldwide, was probably the weakest link of the trilogy, and also produced a stand-up special Doin' Time in 2016. But by 2020, a shift happened. In 2003, there had been talks of doing a third Bad Boy film, but budget constraints led them to halt development. The project got back off the ground in 2018. But now, Will Smith was top billing. After starring in films like Independence Day, being nominated for Oscars for Ali and The Pursuit of Happiness, and surviving entanglements.
We saw it.
The film opened at #1 and grossed more than the previous 2 films, as the public missed the duo. Will Smith was now the box office draw, which seemed fine with Martin. He wasn't the same man he was in 1995. In the years that passed, Tisha and Martin had begun to work on reconciling their relationship. They've been tight-lipped on what steps were taken to heal, due to a gag order on both parties, but they've done it somehow, appearing together on a BET Plus special for the sitcom's 30th anniversary in 2022. Notably missing from the original cast was Tommy Ford, who passed away from an aneurysm
R.P.
in
Tommy,
2016.
man.
2 years
Got
later,
to get it
the cast
right
appeared
now.
on the Primetime Emmys to honor the show and also nudged the crowd about how they'd never won the award, even with the show's success and everlasting syndication. But A Different World never won. Living Single never won. Neither did Good Times, The Wire, Girlfriends, or almost any of the other black-led shows you can think of. But the people loved it. And you can't fake that. In 2024, the 4th Bad Boys installment hit theaters grossing over $400 million at the worldwide box office. putting the cherry on top to the successful franchise.
Nothing I won't talk about, but thank everybody who goes see a Martin movie. Thank you. That's it.
Hollywood, like life, is complicated. It tests relationships, and every success and setback adds to a legacy. Martin Lawrence's journey, marked by explosive highs and extreme lows, stands as a testament to that truth. From his gritty beginnings on the stand-up circuit to becoming one of the most recognizable faces in the industry, he broke barriers with his raw humor, reshaping what it meant to be a black comedian in Hollywood. And he's still so crazy.
You're so crazy.
Alrighty, man. That's just gonna about do it for this one, man. Most definitely, man. It's the GOAT right here. This is a personal GOAT right here. Not on no comedy shit, just on like one of them niggas. Like he just one of them niggas, man. Like Martin gonna always be that nigga, man. For real, dog. I don't care what anybody say. We could talk about, man, Martin was back in the 90s, man. He ain't popping today. He ain't the best comedian today. I never said he was the best comedian today. I just said he just that dude, man, for real. Hey, man, just is what it is. But anyway, so that's just gonna about do it for this one. I've been holding off on this video for too long. I'm finally got this video. I've been wanting to do this video for a minute too, but I always say I only do Martin videos on Mondays. It is my work schedule. I ain't never got the time, so I found some time today. So yeah, without further ado, I'll see y'all in the next one. Till then, peace out.